Welcome to Outside the Frame, a podcast for wedding industry professionals to learn how to be better humans in business and life.
We're your hosts,
Caitlin of Skywater Photo and Film,
and Kaylin of Wandering Wildflower Films. We're here to create a supportive and meaningful space for diverse voices to discuss social and personal issues that impact wedding pros.
Our hope is that collectively, we can bring more of ourselves and the things that matter to the forefront of our work in the wedding industry and give all of us the courage to focus our business around who we are and what we care about.
We're so glad you're joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Outside the Frame podcast. We are so excited to be back and getting into some more episodes before our season ends. Today is a little bit different. We are doing another Just Caitlin and I podcast. The reason is because we messed up, which happens. It happens to all of us in the industry. We all know as photographers, florists, makeup artists, whatever it might be, things happen, right? We are human. There's always error. We just interviewed Joanna from Public Land Creatives and had an amazing conversation about our public lands, about making sure that we are protecting them and we're creating rules that help people access these public lands while also protecting them, especially as elopement photographers, especially as those of us that are working in national parks and national forests. And it's Earth Month, which was like all perfect. And we were going to post that today, but we had some snafus with the recording and we never recorded any of her audio. So amazing things were shared, great conversations were had, but unfortunately we don't have any of the audio. So we hopefully will have that recording. We'll have to redo that episode, but hopefully we'll have that and we can share it with you. But, you know, things happen. No big deal. We move on. And in the spirit of Earth Month and in the spirit of everything that Public Land Creatives is doing with giving back to our community, giving back to the national parks, creating it a more accessible and protected lands, we wanted to talk about some cool organizations and ways that we as wedding vendors can give back to our communities. So we have a couple cool organizations that we have heard about personally that we are going to share with you today. And then we're also going to talk about kind of ways that we as wedding vendors can get involved in our communities and give back. As you're hearing this, we'll put all the information in the show notes for like links to websites and things. But if there's any organizations that you know about in your community, because every community has these different organizations, we're just sharing the ones we know about so far. We would love to share more about different organizations in your community, as well as different initiatives that you know about, so that we can keep expanding these great things that are happening. So if you do have anything, put it in the comments, email us, message us, whatever, so that we can get on board and share more about them. So we'll dive right in. The first organization that we're going to talk about is Brides Across America. So they donate money and dresses for military and first responders. And they actually have two specific events that they do every year. It's kind of across the country is what it sounds like, but it's called Operation Wedding Gown, which is really cool. So if you have couples that want to donate their dresses to this group, they can. You can also donate money, but they also just have some great little initiatives to help people who are first responders, people who are in the military, make sure that they get their dream wedding, even when they're dealing with deployment and other things that come with the stress of being in that industry, or in that, I don't know, it's not really an industry, but in that world of serving our country.
Yeah, I love that. And there's another organization that sometimes partners with Brides Across America, since it's somewhat related. But Brides for a Cause, if you all haven't heard of that, I highly recommend looking into it. They're a dress store. And so like a lot of my brides have actually purchased some dresses from them. So they're like slightly resold dresses to support a variety of women-focused organizations and charities all across America. So it's just really cool to be able to like go and shop for your dress, whether at Brides Across America or Brides for a Cause, and to be able to be, supporting some really cool initiatives.
Absolutely. And there's so many things you're like, what do you do with your wedding dress? Or, you know, or like some of us, even as photographers, videographers, we might have wedding dresses that we purchased at a sample sale or a trunk show that we used for styled shoots. And then we're like, okay, well, we have 10 dresses that we don't need anymore. Instead of selling it on Facebook Marketplace, which is good, you could also think about donating it. I also saw some initiatives that, and I didn't put these in the list, but there's some that will take old wedding dresses and make them for infants that have died in the NICU or other things like that. So there's some really cool organizations that do things with old wedding dresses that if you're like, hey, I don't know what to do with my wedding dress, or maybe your couple is asking, hey, we have all this, these white outfits from our wedding that we're never going to wear again. Instead of it sitting in a closet, give it to one of these organizations. And it's just a special little thing to do to give back after having such a special experience at your wedding. Another one is Wish Upon a Wedding, which offers weddings and vow renewals for couples who are facing terminal illness and life-altering health changes, which this is a great one because really any wedding vendor could get involved. Obviously, you can donate money. That's always a thing. But you can also donate your services and help host one of these couples. So it's really cool because you could go and be the florist for this couple who is dealing with this terminal illness. It's kind of nice when there's options because not all of us have that extra cash or extra whatever, but maybe we have some extra time. And they create these beautiful experiences for people who are dealing with really big life changes, terminal illnesses. And it's a way to give them that last little celebration before everything changes.
Yeah, and it's really beautiful, and it's actually easier than I thought it would be to sign up. I have never documented anything for them yet, but I did sign up because it's so many of these happen kind of on like a, last minute, last resort type dream before they realize that they only have, say, like weeks or days left to live. And it's not difficult at all to sign up online on their website. So I highly, highly recommend it. Yeah, I just feel like it can be a beautiful, beautiful way to celebrate a really tough time, to celebrate life in a really tough time. So but yeah, we also have a couple others that we have heard about locally here in Washington. HopeChest is another organization that puts together an annual wedding rummage sale. So it's like where they get to sell reused wedding decor, and all the money that all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to benefit Mary's Place, which I'm sure some people also locally have heard about. It's a nonprofit that ensures no child sleeps outside, and they focus on equity and opportunity for women and families by helping them move out of homelessness into more stable situations. So Hope Chest, obviously, all their proceeds go to benefiting Mary's Place, and it's just a really cool way to give back while also reselling wedding decor, which also is a great way to be more sustainable as well.
Thinking about being sustainable, Beneficent Blossoms is also a Washington state initiative and group, and they donate flowers. So you can bring your like extra flowers, things that are leftovers, and they bring them to hospital and retirement homes after your wedding. So it's something that definitely exists elsewhere. And if it doesn't, I think this is a great thing that we should be doing everywhere because it is. It's wet. Flowers are one, expensive, and two, we have a lot of them after the wedding day, and they're great for multiple days afterwards. So instead of tossing them or just leaving them and just like letting somebody else deal with it, you can bring them to these different organizations and they'll donate them to places that, again, it's just like a nice, who doesn't want flowers, right? Like, I just think that's such a great way to give back and then also just make use of those beautiful flowers that are going to last for multiple days after the wedding day.
Yeah, this organization, they had stopped by the Sustainable Wedding Show hosted by Emerald Hour, and it was actually founded by a couple of teenagers, which was really cool. So it was like their parents basically just helped them start this nonprofit initiative. And it's just so cool to see, yeah, some kids kind of like get excited to think about it. And so the way that they put it is obviously partnering with a lot of like florists or planners is really important. And as we know, plenty of sustainable florists out there won't just help clean up, but like they'll actually compost a lot of flowers. But still, that just means that it's going into a compost pile, which isn't bad, right? Like that's better than letting it just go to waste. But this organization, and I'm sure others across the US that do this, they'll actually break down, like even if it's like, say, like a huge large display, they'll break it down and create like little mini bouquets to like spread out across multiple hospital rooms, which I just thought was really cool.
I love that. And right, we want to reuse first. That's always the first in the whole cycle. So that's so great to be able to, well, I guess reduce first, but reuse the next one. But yeah, again, it's like, who doesn't want flowers? And what a great way to make somebody else's day. Like, you know that, hey, I'm going to make someone's day better by just donating my flowers. You're already spending the money. You're already using all those flowers. Why not, as the vendors, be like, hey, couples, I do this as well, so that you can also give back to your community.
Yeah, it's really cool. We also have one last one to share, at least for today. We figured we could always, if we do hear from a lot of you getting a lot of cool ideas and other initiatives out there, we would love to keep an ongoing list to be able to share in the future. So we might make this maybe an annual type post. But we also wanted to share about Brides Against Breast Cancer, which donates old dresses for breast cancer awareness and research. So kind of going back to this idea of like, you can always use items like decor and wedding dresses to be able to sell and support really cool charities.
Yeah, and what a great way, even if you're a vendor and you have a bunch of extra things, or maybe you're not going to be in, you're cycling out some of your gear that you have for events. Like, I think of planners, a lot of planners have certain items like candles and things that they keep over and over and over again. And it's like, oh, hey, I want a new cups or new plates or whatever, new chairs, whatever you're recycling with your couples. And you're like, okay, let's get a refresh. You could donate those things and then donate that money that you get from selling those items to an organization that means something to you. That really leads into what we wanted to talk about next, which is ways that you as the vendor can get involved. So there's already these great organizations, and those are just like the tiniest number of organizations that are already doing things that involve weddings and ways that we can give back. But there's also a lot that we as vendors can do in our own communities to give back. And this was a big part of PLC when we were talking to Joanna. She was sharing a lot about how she was from Glacier National Park. She did a lot of weddings there, and she was just noticing that some of the permitting, the laws, things were getting really tricky, and it was making it difficult to access these spaces. And she was also worried about these becoming more popular and it not being regulated in the right way to protect the space. So she started in her own community first. It was just like a group of 10 of them, I think is what she was sharing. And I don't remember all the details, but it was a small group of them as photographers. And then it's kind of blossomed from there. So they've expanded from just their small community. So if you're like overwhelmed, you want to help, but you're a little overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, these are such big organizations, start in your small community, right? So start with just something that means something to you. So if you really care about nature, you could donate a small portion. It could be 1%, like, of your profit, or $10 of every booking that you get. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you could donate a small portion of any profit that you make, and you can give that to an organization that you care about. So it could be something that lines up with your values. We talk a lot about values here and aligning your business with your values. So pick something that matters to you.
A lot of this just comes back to noticing what's in your local community. If you're noticing certain trails need some extra cleanup, maybe volunteer to be part of a cleanup crew to clean up some of the trash, whatever that is in your local community, in your family. Just start paying attention and see what you can do to make even just a little bit of a difference, starting small.
Yeah, I always think about that. Like, I'll see like Facebook posts of like, oh, there was one specific, I feel like it was in Washington, where it was like a trailhead that a lot of people did photo shoots at. And they were talking about all these fake flowers and things that were just like left out, or that was, okay. Yeah. I was like, I was like, I feel like I saw this. So it's like, when you see that, go do something about it. Like, get a couple other photographers together. Let's go clean up. Let's go deal with it so that it doesn't fall on somebody else, right? Like, make people aware, and don't hate on people. I think about the Moab experience too. I'm sure most of you have heard about. There was one wedding in Moab in the BLM land, and they had left all sorts of trash and things, and they had set up this big setup that wasn't allowed. Like, they didn't have a permit for it. They weren't supposed to be doing that. And it's like, yes, that is bad. And at the same time, let's go help like fix that. Let's go clean up afterwards. Let's go make a difference so that because of a couple of people's bad actions, we don't all get into trouble, or we can help encourage others to like take care of that space. Because if they see other people thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't leave all of this trash or all of this extra stuff, or maybe I shouldn't be putting tables on this fragile land, it'll help like minimize that in the future. So yeah, it's just like seeing what's going on and doing something about it in your local community.
For sure. And we also want to emphasize too that if you have a lot of knowledge, share that with other fellow vendors, even your couples, right? Like, you can put this in your guides as you're like booking couples. If you have information that you regularly give out to your couples, or if you have events that you're attending, networking events that you're attending with other vendors, like, don't be afraid to share some knowledge and tips. If you notice there are certain things that other people are doing, we talked about this a little bit with Alicia. She talked about, it's not calling people out for doing something right. Like, I'm calling you in. We're trying to like bring you into making the world a better place, right? And making a difference. And yeah, maybe it's hard because initially when you realize you maybe aren't doing things a certain way, that you get like a little, we all do. We all get a little defensive, right? Of like, oh, like that feels icky. That feels like, oh, I did something bad. And so then you want to be like, no, but like, let me justify like why I didn't do it this way. But it just, we're calling you in. We're just saying, hey, like, if you want to make a difference, if you want to, yeah, just make some small tweaks over time, that it doesn't take a lot. And so we don't need to be bashing a lot of people. We're trying to just help and inform and educate, right?
Absolutely. And what a powerful, like, knowledge is power. I feel like I've probably said that in the past, but like, knowledge is power. And so share that knowledge, share that power with other people. And then it just makes the community so much better, your local community, the overall community of weddings. All of this just improves over time. So it's just like the littlest things. Just do anything. Another thing that I thought about too, like for food, right? Catering and things. Like I even think about my own wedding. We did a very small catering. We had like 40 something people, and we had some leftover food, and we ended up like just divvying it up between everybody that was there. But if you're a larger vendor and you're feeding 200 people, 300 people, if you're a catering company, there are a lot of great places that you can donate that food. So just like the flowers where, hey, I'm going to take the extra flowers and distribute them to hospitals or to nursing homes. If you're a caterer and you know of an area, or if you're hosting your own wedding and you're having an intimate celebration and you have leftover food, there are places that will take that. It depends on obviously the quality of the food, and if it's, I'm sure they probably don't take certain items, but there's going to be a lot of leftovers that, you can just bring to the homeless shelter. I think about like, oh, couples who travel here, right? We get a lot of travel weddings in Colorado. So I get a lot of couples that come and they probably buy lots and lots of food for everybody that's staying in their Airbnb. Well, instead of leaving it at the Airbnb, why don't you take that to a food bank nearby? There's extra things that you didn't use. Bring them somewhere, bring them to a homeless shelter, bring them somewhere that they can use them and make use of them. And what a great way to, again, give back after having such a beautiful celebration. And there are different companies. I looked at some different organizations. One was called Replate. We Don't Waste was one that was specific in the Denver area that works with events in the Denver area, which was really cool. And then obviously your local food pantry or whatever. Like, there's going to be places that need food and those items. And what a great way to use that you're like, hey, we have a bunch of loaves of bread or rolls, bread rolls. I feel like that's the one that probably is always so much extra. It's like, we have so many bread rolls left. Go bring them over, or
Well,
extra.
especially from buffets, right? Like buffets, I think,
Mhm.
are the ones that like always end up overestimating how much is available rather than like a plated meal. So I feel like inevitably there are going to be leftovers. And yeah, if you have people that are from out of town and are taking a flight out the next day, it's a little harder to be able to divvy up the food for people who don't live locally, right? And one of the things that another planner here in Washington pointed out to me recently. She was speaking at the wedding show that we had, and she talked about this in front of couples. I think a lot of people get hesitant about donating food because they think that like it might either come back to that of like, oh, well, what about like food poisoning or anything like that. And generally there's this, I don't know if it was like a law or like this general consensus with food donations is that there's this like good faith principle, and that if you're donating food in good faith, it can't come back to hurt you, that you are doing this as like a good initiative. So I thought that was also really important to note. It's like, this is not a bad thing. It's not that difficult. It's just I think a lot of this, you just need to think about it before the day comes around, right? Like
Mhm.
again, having like a plan for just like a waste plan, essentially. Like what happens to all the things, the decor, the food, the flowers, what happens to all of that when the wedding day is over? And yeah, I mean, we got married 10 years ago. So I feel like this is a whole new thing that I didn't think about. So I have no idea what happened to a lot of my stuff at my wedding day. And I feel awful about that, but you don't know. And so if you do have the opportunity to communicate with your couples, if your vendors, you definitely have a chance to talk to your couples. If there are couples out there listening, definitely just think about ways that you can have a different impact with your wedding in advance. And one of the other things that I thought was going to be helpful to mention is not just thinking about like waste reduction, but also if you are getting married, or if you're a vendor and you're talking with couples and they're trying to figure out if they're in the middle of wedding planning process, you could also suggest that they donate to certain nonprofits and local initiatives in lieu of a gift registry. So many of us now either like live together, say like you have everything you need, right? Maybe you're not even planning some big honeymoon trip to do like a honeymoon fund donation type situation. If you are in that place, and if you are privileged enough to feel very comfortable of like, you know what, we really don't need gifts at all, this is a great way to suggest that if people feel inclined to do a gift for you, to suggest that they donate to your favorite local nonprofit instead. So that's just another idea that I have heard before, and I thought that was really, yeah, really cool to be able to support that way.
Yeah, I love that. I've also seen people who do honeymoons that involve some sort of giving back. So it's like a honeymoon where they're doing something fun, but then they also give back to whatever local community that they're traveling to. So I think that is a really cool way to involve like giving back during all of your wedding things. So I just think there's so many really cool ways that we can give back to our communities and to our world. And as wedding vendors, we can encourage that in our couples. We don't have to shame anybody or make them feel like they have to. But if we leave it out as, oh, you send your guide, your wedding planning guide, throw a little like, oh, you want to give back? Here are some ideas. Here are some creative ways to do it. You don't even have to verbally say it. You can just put it into your guide as just like a, just in case you're thinking about it, right? You don't have to be pushy about it. So I just think it's really great to think about those things because we want to take care of our communities. We want to give back, and these are all great ways to do that. And what a great way to also encourage our couples to do it as well. And I just think it creates this nice circle of just care and love for each other. And I just think it's such an important thing to be thinking about and to just consider.
Yeah, so again, it just goes back to this, start small, start with whatever you care about most, and go from there, little by little. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us. This was a shorty. We wanted to keep it short and sweet. We'll include any information like websites and things for any organizations that we did mention today. And also just, I really want to encourage you all, let us know if you know of any really cool organization initiatives. we can't know everything that's going on in this world. There are so many cool things that we're doing as communities. And so we want to share that out. We want to amplify that. And yeah, maybe we can make this a little mini episode every once in a while to share out really cool things that are happening in the world. And maybe we can even talk to these organizations. So just give us a shout. Thanks so much for listening.